Alrighty, so like Kelly said, I'm Erica. I am a program manager at Pinal County Animal Care and Control in Arizona, where it's still really, really hot. And I'm just going to kind of go over how we manage our foster program, mostly check-ins. If you can see at the bottom, it kind of shows how big our shelter is, so you can kind of get an idea. So if your shelter is similar, maybe hopefully some of these ideas will help you with managing your foster programs. So currently, right now, we have about 200 animals in the shelter, about 200 dogs and like 20 cats. And then we have 140 plus animals that are currently in foster, and we have 135 kennels. So being able to have those 140 animals in foster is super helpful. And that is a lot of animals to manage. And then size wise, we are a municipal shelter and we take in about 3,000 to 4,000 animals a year. Right now, we're just a little above 3,000. And of course, most of the animals in our care are medium large adult dogs like everybody else. So getting them into foster is super important, being able to keep up with those fosters. Just a little history on our foster program. In 2018, we had less than like 5 animals in foster. And most of the time, it was staff members that were like fostering animals. It was really difficult for people to become a foster here. And we had 330 plus animals in the shelter, so way more than what we have now. And we really needed to do something about getting these animals out into foster homes so we wouldn't have to resort to euthanasia. So in 2018, I actually got to go to the Maddie's Fun apprenticeship. Kelly, you were there out in Pima, and we learned a lot. So we totally revamped our foster program, and that's how we now have our 140 animals in foster. And we do a very barrier-free approach to fostering, which we learned during the apprenticeship. And we do fostering for space. We have fostering for medical. We do field trips, so day outings, overnights. Our biggest contributor to our foster program, I think, though, is we encourage adopters to foster for like a week or so before they commit to adopting, just so they have our support during that whole foster process. If there's something they need their pet acclimated to, they have our foster coordinators on standby to help them with that. And then we also have animals that are waiting for spay and neuter. They go home to foster with their adopters, and then they come back for that spay and neuter. So we only have a vet here once a week, and lots of animals that need surgery. So fosters and chameleon, we use chameleon here at our shelter. So hopefully this is super helpful for you chameleon users on keeping on top of your fosters. So when we sign out our animals to foster, if you see the little screenshot there, obviously this would be filled in with the animal's information and stuff. And then you would put your foster outcome information. So our primary type is foster, and then we have our subtype to subcategorize them. So like this animal is adopted, they're just waiting for their spay and neuter, or these fosters are possibly adopting this animal. They're just doing a trial period, or they're just fostering for time and space, or this animal is a medical animal. So we make sure to subcategorize every single foster that leaves. And how we keep on top of our check-ins. So in the animal screen, how you get to that screen is you would just go into the animal ID screen. If you can see my little pointer there, you would click in there. And in Chameleon, in the spay and neuter box at the very bottom here, there is this contract expiration like date thing. We had no idea what that was used for, so we utilize it as our check-in date. So we had it set up with Chameleon that when we enter a date into this box, that is going to be when the fosters get their check-in. So we just enter the date. So these people are fostering the dog to possibly adopt. We just hit a date for a week from now. And then what happens is our foster coordinators get this email every single day of all the animals that are due for their check-ins. So they look up the A numbers, go check out the notes and be like, oh, okay, this animal's in foster for possible adoption. Let's give them a check-in, see how everything's going. Oh, we checked in a week ago and they were having issues adjusting the animal with this. Let me get some resources for them and send that over to them. And if you have a really big shelter that you manage in a huge foster program, you can also get it set up to when you put that date in that the fosters get an automated like postmaster email from Chameleon, just with like a general email saying like, hey, it's time to check in with the shelter for your foster animal. If you don't have the staffing to do like the individual emails, but we like to do that just so we're like a little more intimate with our fosters and building relations, and it's not just a general email. But I know some people probably don't have enough staff for that, and you may just need the general emails. We have 3 foster coordinators that manage our foster program for our 140 animals. And then they always make sure to update the notes so everyone knows what's going on. And then also in the animal ID screen, in that same spay or neuter box, there is a due date, and we use that date for surgery appointments. So what's really cool is you can enter that date, and we do have a postmaster set up for this one. So the night before, fosters will get an email reminding them that their pet has a surgery appointment for the next day. And I'll tell them, don't feed your pet after 10 p.m. the night before. Don't give them food in the morning. This is the drop off time, and this is where you're going to bring them. So that's really nice. And this is just what the automated email looks like. So Maverick is due for spay neuter surgery. And then fosters and puppy boosters. So if you're dealing with puppy fosters, it's a pain to stay on top of all of the vaccines that they need because, we want to keep our puppies healthy. And in our medical screen, in Chameleon, especially if you use Chameleon, what we do is put the future dates that their puppy vaccines are due. So these were the days that this puppy was due for all his shots. This is actually my puppy that I adopted like years ago. And so we put those in for a future date. And when the puppy comes in for their appointment, we just enter the vaccine right there. So then we know that the puppy got their vaccine. And what the foster coordinators like to do if a puppy is due for a vaccine, they make their check-in day for the day before so they can shoot their foster an email or text message and be like, hey, just a reminder, your puppy is due to come in for some vaccines tomorrow. And then another cool thing that Chameleon did for us is when you put in those future dates for the puppy fosters, this is our puppy wellness contract, it automatically puts that schedule onto their contract that they're signing. So they know these are the dates that the puppy needs to come in for their shots. We want our puppies to stay healthy. And then staying on top of it, mistakes happen. And sometimes foster coordinators forget to put in a check-in day. And if we don't check in with those fosters, some just like to fall off the radar and never get in contact with you and never wonder why we didn't get in contact with them. So to prevent that from happening, we do also have a foster inventory report, which is really cool. And it'll show you how many days out that the animal has been in foster. So you can be like, oh, this animal has been in foster for quite a long time. Let's really start promoting this dog. It also will tell you if it's missing a check-in day. So you'll be like, oh, someone forgot to put a check-in day for this animal. Let me go put that in there to make sure that they're getting their regular check-ins. And that is pretty much it. That is all I have. Of course, our foster program grew from, being like 5 fosters to 140, like over the past few years. So we did have our growing pains, but this process seems to work the best for us on like keeping in touch with our fosters and building relations with them and giving them the support they need. And I think that's a really important thing. And I do have my email on this screen if you guys have any questions about any of the reports or anything that I mentioned. If you do use Chameleon, it's super easy to get like the reports that we use put into your Chameleon. So if you saw a report on here that you really liked or would like to try, just shoot me an email and I can get you the exact names of those reports.